Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. In this video, we're going to build a 1440p and 4K gaming PC that will perform just amazing in pretty much any game out there. Now, I'm going to show off exactly how to build this computer, all parts featured, why we're using them, and so on. And I've tested no less than 22 games in total for you guys in both 1440p and 4K resolution. We're also gonna dive into ray tracing. We're gonna do a ray tracing comparison between AMD's new Radeon RX 6700 XT versus the 3070. AMD actually now offers DX12 Ultimate and ray tracing support, so I think it will be interesting seeing where these cards stand versus each other in a sort of a ray tracing head-to-head battle, so to speak. Now, in case there's any game you want me to include for future benchmarks, make sure to leave it down in the comments down below. And I am planning on testing Battlefield 2042. If you want videos more often, please smash the like button, subscribe, and turn on the notifications bell so that you know exactly when new content is released. Now, all items you see in today's video can be found linked up down below. And today we got the powerhouse of a computer in front of us, and I've actually gone out and picked up a GTX 3070 graphics card. But yeah, let's start taking a look at our CPU and our motherboard pick first. Alright, so this is the Ryzen 5 5600X, a blazing fast 6-core and 12-thread CPU, coming in at around $270 with a base clock of 3.7 and 4.6 at boost clock. The Zen 3 based 5600X is actually one of the best budget gaming CPUs to date, and if we take a look at this quick CPU benchmarks comparison, shows that the 5600X does great in games. There's simply no doubt about it. Now, in order to install this CPU, we're gonna need some type of motherboard, and coming in at a modest $130, this is my pick for today. This is the Asus ROG Strix B450-F Gaming, one of the most popular B450 motherboards ever created, and it's easy to understand why. This is a high quality budget motherboard that got all the necessary basic stuff, like for DIMM slot support, for example. We find dual M.2 slots, support for Asus Aurora RGB, everything in a sleek black finish. Now, at Orbian Hardware guys, I always strive to build the best budget gaming PC we can for you. You can actually get away about $30 cheaper if you opt for the B450M from Gigabyte, and this is just a heads up to you guys that want to get away as cheaply as possible. Let's open up our CPU box and install our processor, and it's all just a matter of pairing up the triangle located at the left side corner with the triangle on the motherboard socket. Pull back the retention arm, line up the triangles, and simply drop the CPU in its socket. Return the metal arm back down again, and that is pretty much it. Now, AMD is kind enough to include a cooler with our CPU that is good enough to play games on, but if your budget allows for it, I recommend spending about $40 on an aftermarket cooler. And after running several hours of stress testing and gaming on this machine, I actually think an aftermarket cooler is a pretty good idea. Now, the 5600X does run a little bit hotter than what you would expect. This is however by design, and so there is nothing to really worry about. But yeah, once again, I think with this case that we got in today's video, an aftermarket cooler is going to do wonders for our CPU temperature. Anyway, with that said, line up the screw holes, and then carefully secure the cooler in a pattern something like so until you feel resistance. Don't forget the CPU fan cable, and this one guys goes to the CPU fan header found at the top middle of the motherboard. Next up, it is time for memory, and we're gonna use this kit from Corsair LPX, so there is no RGB here. And yeah, RGB usually adds a little bit to the price tag. This kit here is actually one of the best budget kits on the market. Please keep in mind guys that you wanna pick up at least a 3000 to a 3200 RAM speed kit. This is actually a great sweet spot in terms of price and performance. So how do you install this? Simply find the notch on the DIMM slot and line it up with the corresponding notch on this slot. Pull back the clips for the second and the fourth DIMM slot, and then it's just a matter of sliding both sticks in, something like so. Following that we have storage, and for today's budget I recommend spending between $60 to about $100 on storage. I recommend picking up an M.2 drive as they are fast, easy to install and don't cost much more than a traditional SSD these days. I recommend choosing either a 500 or a 1TB unit. Finally, let's turn our attention to the case. This one comes from Deepcool called Matrix 50, equipped with 4 RGB fans that can easily shift colors and patterns using the button at the top. The Matrix 50 simply won't let you down if you're looking for a great looking case with decent cooling and RGB. You have enough space here to fit up to a 280mm radiator at the top, and there's actually quite a lot of space here to fit an aftermarket cooler quite nicely if you feel like you want to go down that path. Anyway guys, remove the side panel and then it is just a matter of sliding in the motherboard and secure it using the screws that comes provided by Deepcool. Then grab the power supply and slide it into its slot. Make sure the fan is facing downwards and secure it. Now I have gone over the cabling in pretty much all of my previous PC builds, and so I won't be doing that in this one. But if you're curious how to do this, you can simply just watch any of my previous videos for exact details in a step-by-step way how I like to do this. And with that said, let's turn our attention to our graphics card. This is the GeForce RTX 3070, based on Nvidia's latest Ampere architecture with support for DX12 Ultimate, ray tracing as well as DLSS. The 3070 targets 1440p gaming at very high graphics, but it can do 4K pretty good as well, thanks to 8GB of VRAM. Now, looking at a ray tracing side-by-side comparison between the RTX 3070 and the 6700 XT and Cyberpunk for example, we can see that the 3070 does amazing, simply put. DLSS is something that Nvidia also offers, and activating that in Call of Duty Warzone, we can see that this gives us a pretty nice boost in FPS without harming the sharpness or crispiness in the gameplay too much. Now spec wise, again, because the 3070 has 8GB of memory, you got enough for 4K gaming here. And to give you guys a better idea where the 3070 sits in terms of performance, here is a pretty good overview. All of that sounds pretty good, right? But because of the ongoing GPU shortage, the 3070 can be a bit tricky to find at the right price. But this obviously goes for any GPU at the moment, and I know guys, this sucks. But with that said, prices are thankfully creeping back down again. The 3070 launched at $499, and in August it could be found for over $1,200. Right now, however, it seems to be sitting around $1,100. Guys, with that all being said, even though we are going in the right direction, I don't think you should be spending anything more than $550. I'll link up the best deal I can find down below. But if you can't seem to find one at the right price, I recommend having a look at the 1650 Super or the 1660. Both are linked up down below, but keep in mind guys, these are 1080p GPUs. Another alternative, if you want to get away cheap here, can be to pull the trigger on an APU with built-in graphics and use this as a sort of a stopgap until prices are back to normal. Anyway, if we take a look at the gaming performance running a wide range of some of today's most popular games, we can see that the RTX 3070 is able to provide high and smooth frame rate in most of the games tested. Again, for 1440p, I recommend high to very high graphics with ray tracing turned on, and for 4K, medium to high is where your target should be if 60 FPS is what you aim for. And if you got a 1440p high refresh rate display, I recommend enabling DLSS in any game that supports this. Anyway, here's what the final part list is looking like, and you find all PC parts listed down below. Guys, this video took me a ton of time to complete, so please leave a like or a dislike and make sure to subscribe to never miss any of my future gaming PC builds. Thank you for all the comments, thank you for all the love, and I will see you guys in the next video.